this lesson is about how to send that email that you've been dreading. So in most people's careers, and I've had a few of these, you're going to get to that point where something has gone potentially badly wrong, or you've got to share some information that you just rather not be doing to a client or to a stakeholder. It's the sort of information or the sort of problem which might feel a little bit sick in the stomach, a few nerves in there as well, and you just rather not have this problem. But you've got to do something about it. You've got to let people know. Now, the first thing you need to do is don't send this, or not do, I should say, do not send this at the end of the day, thinking if you send this now, right before the end of the day, you can close your laptop and forget about it. It's tomorrow's problem. Now, the issue with that is, one, it's tomorrow's problem, so you've already lost time to deal with it. The second is, it's probably not going to make you feel any better because you can be thinking about it during the evening and potentially waking up at night thinking, oh God, I've got to deal with that tomorrow. And also, the person who's going to impact the most, say like your stakeholder or client, whoever you're sending it to, they may read that email the last thing that day. Now they're stressed. Now it might have ruined their evening as well. And that's not going to look good on you, getting that type of email in the day and then hearing nothing about, because they may respond straight away. And if you're not checking your emails, then it's not going to look good. So do not send it at the end of the day thinking this is tomorrow's problem. The second point is, think about how will they feel when they receive this, and what will they need to do next. So will they need to share it with others like management or team members or whoever it might be? What sort of challenges might it provide or create, I should say, when they receive this email with this problem in? Because then you can already start to think about the type of content you need to put into your email to hopefully mitigate some of those or just make it easier, because no one wants a problem, and especially no one wants a problem without any solutions. If you just get a problem and you're looking at this going, this is an absolute nightmare, this is not helping me whatsoever, you're more likely to fight it back and go, just fix this. But what you really want is someone to respond and work with you to come to the solution. So if you're already thinking about how they're going to feel, what they need to do next, and you can tailor your email so it increases the chances are they're going to work more closely with you to fix it. Now, you also want to think about, well, what will they do next with this information? And for example, if they're working with a third party that it impacts, you might want to have in there into your actions about the steps you're going to take with that third party. And you've recognized that's a problem, but this is what you're going to do next. You want to make their life as easy as possible. And you also need to think about, what responses do you want? Because the response might be, you just need them to acknowledge it, and there's nothing else to be done right now. Or you might need a decision within 24 hours, or ideally instantly. But whatever response you need, it's important to know what that is, because then again, you can tailor the email accordingly and be really, really clear in your communication. Now, sometimes when you're sending emails like this, there's a lot of people on the thread, CC'd, etc. You need to think about, who is the most important person receiving this email? Who do I need to really understand what I'm saying here and direct it to them and write it for them? If you try and write it for everybody, then you won't really be thinking about that earlier point about, well, how are they going to feel, how are they going to respond, and it won't have the right impact. So ideally, pick one person or maybe two people and just think about them only, about what they need to do. Everyone else, yes, they might be important, it might be your boss, but it's not for them. Think about, who is this for? Now think about, what's the best way to structure this email? Because again, going back to the last point, if you're sending it and directing it to a certain individual, do they like bullets? Do they like a summary at the start? Do they like more detail? Do they like it some form of report or attachment? Whatever they prefer in terms of communication, do it in that way. So again, you're thinking about them, and without them even really realizing, then they're going to respond better to it, because you have taken into consideration them, their individual, and what their preferences are. No one wants a really long email if you're super busy, because for some people that's going to annoy you straight away. I've got to read all of this and its problems as well. I have no idea what you want me to do because it's so long. So really think carefully about how much detail you put into it. And then the email structure itself, and you should break it down into three areas. You've got to describe the problem first of all. Now, don't hold back. Because if you try and cover yourself too much, the message isn't going to come across. And ultimately, that information is probably going to come out at some point anyway. So you're better off getting it out right now. The second is, what is the impact this going to have? And depending on what the problem is, but sometimes you need to describe the long-term impact versus the short-term. It's because in step 3, which is the next steps or the solution, you can describe what you're going to do next to reduce the impact in the long term. Sometimes maybe there isn't anything to do about the short term, but at least you're already looking to improve things in the long term by taking these actions next. And then, yeah, the final step is next steps. Now, you might have some solutions. So if what you need from this is a decision, you might have one or two things to say, this is recommendations, what we should do next. Please let me know which one you want to go with. Or it could be, I'm going to book this meeting with the team at this time tomorrow, this meeting with you to update. I'll update you on an email at this time, that type of thing. Because the more in control you are of the next steps, the less pushback you're going to get and the less just fix it quickly as possible. If you're already telling someone these are the options and this is what we're going to do, they're more likely going to go with you on that. And then also, where needed, share the draft with your colleague or your colleagues, because like if you ever sent a big email that's really important, might not be a problem. You read it a few times and over again, but sometimes you can miss the really obvious things. So if it's really important and it's that big an issue, share it with a few people. Go, what do you think? Have I missed anything? Any spelling mistakes, any grammar? Because you want to get it as close to perfect as possible. And the final point is just don't put it off. Like I said at the start, because the longer you put it off, the less time you have to resolve it. And in some cases, the longer you put it off, the more pressure you're putting on the recipient, where this problem potentially is impacting them even more. And they're going to be more stressed. They're not going to be happy. So they're less likely to want to work with you rather than just tell you, just fix this problem right now. So be brave, get it out there as quickly as possible. And then as soon as you get those actions in place, you will start to feel better. That overwhelm and that stress will come down because you're doing something about it rather than just thinking about it over and over again. All right, well, I hope you never had to send an email like that. And you certainly don't have to put that much time and effort into each one. But in some cases, you can consider most of these points for a lot of emails, but obviously it doesn't have to take that long. But it's really important. A lot of these tips will help you in many, many different ways when it comes to writing emails and also getting less emails back. All right, hope that lesson works well for you.